Hello everyone, and welcome back to r/MaliciousCompliance, where people share stories about how following the rules to the letter can sometimes lead to unexpected justice. Today, I'm going to tell you about a time I watched my own boss get fired because of the very rules he put in place. It's a story about how strict policies, when applied without common sense, can backfire spectacularly. I worked at a mid-sized marketing company. I was part of the project management team, responsible for coordinating tasks between our creative and client services departments. Our boss, Mark, was a man who loved rules and control. He was the kind of manager who wanted everything done his way and demanded complete obedience to the company policies he created. At first, we thought his strict rules were meant to keep things organized, but soon it became clear that his controlling style was suffocating the workflow. This story starts when a major client gave us a huge project with a tight deadline. What happened next changed everything, not just for Mark, but for me and the whole office. Mark was the kind of boss who micromanaged every little detail. He believed that if he didn't personally approve every task, things would fall apart. So, he created a strict rule. No work could be finalized or sent out without his direct approval. It didn't matter how small or urgent the task was. Everything had to pass through him. At first, this seemed like a way to maintain quality, but it quickly turned into a bottleneck. Projects slowed down, deadlines were missed, and frustration grew. Whenever anyone tried to push a task through without his approval, Mark was quick to punish them, either with formal warnings or cold reprimands. This rule wasn't just frustrating. It was harmful. People stopped taking initiative because they knew it would be pointless. Every decision required Mark's okay, even when he was unavailable. This created delays that annoyed our clients and stressed out the team. The office atmosphere became tense. Some employees whispered about how the rules made their jobs harder. Others openly complained during meetings. But Mark insisted he was only enforcing discipline and ensuring the company's reputation stayed intact. We all sensed something was going to break soon. The pressure was building, but no one expected that the boss himself would be the one to break first, because of his own rules. Then came the big test. One morning, we got a call from one of our biggest clients, a well-known retail chain. They needed a full marketing campaign completed and delivered within 5 days. It was a huge project involving ads, social media posts, and a press release. Missing this deadline wasn't an option. Our team jumped into action immediately. We worked late nights, coordinated meetings, and shared drafts to make sure every detail was perfect. I led the project management efforts, keeping track of progress and ensuring each department hit their targets. Morale was high because we knew this project could really boost our company's reputation. As the deadline approached, everything seemed on track. The creative team had finished the ads, the social media posts were ready, and the press release was written. The last step was simple. Mark needed to review and approve all materials before we could send them to the client. That's when problems started. Mark became suddenly hard to reach. He missed meetings, didn't respond to emails, and even ignored phone calls. We kept reminding him of the deadline, but he said he was busy with other company matters. The clock was ticking, and no one was allowed to move forward without his approval. The team grew anxious. We couldn't deliver the project without Mark's sign-off, but he was nowhere to be found. It was frustrating and stressful, but I reminded everyone that rules were rules, and Mark's rule was clear. No approval, no delivery. The tension in the office was at its peak. We all waited, hoping Mark would show up in time. Little did we know this was the moment where his own rules would turn against him in the most unexpected way. As the deadline loomed closer, I found myself caught in a tough position. The whole team was desperate to move forward without Mark's approval. Some suggested bypassing him or escalating the issue to higher management. Others even wanted to send the materials to the client, hoping for the best. But I remembered the rule, Mark's rule, that no work could be finalized without his sign-off. I explained my decision to the team clearly. We had to follow the rules exactly, or we risked serious consequences. It wasn't about stubbornness. It was about keeping everyone safe from blame. If we broke the rule, the fallout would fall squarely on us. We kept trying to contact Mark, sending emails and calling his phone, but he remained silent. The hours ticked by and the office filled with nervous energy. Everyone hoped he'd appear at any moment, but the silence stretched on. I reassured the team that I was doing what I believed was right. It felt like walking a tightrope between following company policy and saving the project. The tension was thick and the clock was merciless. This was no longer just about work. It was about principle. If we bent the rule just once, what would stop it from happening again? I had to stay firm. The rule was clear, and I was going to follow it to the letter, even if it meant risking everything. Finally, the deadline passed, and we hadn't delivered the project. The client called, furious and confused. They demanded answers immediately. The marketing campaign they were counting on was nowhere to be found, and their frustration echoed through our office phones. Mark finally returned, acting surprised to find the team in chaos. He demanded explanations, his voice sharp and defensive. The atmosphere was tense as we faced him with the truth. I calmly laid it out. The project was ready, but we couldn't send anything without his approval. I reminded him of the rule he himself had enforced, that no work could go out without his sign-off. Because he was unreachable, the project missed its deadline. Mark's face flushed with anger. He accused me of sabotaging the project and questioned my loyalty. But I stayed composed. I repeated that I was simply following the rules he set, rules that he had made clear to everyone. The tension in the room grew. Mark's usual confidence cracked. His control slipped as the reality sank in. The very policy he created had caused the failure. His frustration turned to panic, and the room felt like it could explode at any moment. This confrontation marked a turning point. The boss, who thought he could control everything, was now powerless against his own rules and the damage they had caused. After the client complaint, the company launched an internal investigation. HR got involved and started reviewing all the policies Mark had put in place, as well as his emails and communications. The investigation wasn't just about the missed deadline. It was about how management decisions had affected the whole team's ability to do their work. During the review, it became clear that Mark's micromanagement was a long-standing problem. His strict rule requiring personal approval for every task had slowed down projects before. His unreliability, disappearing at crucial moments, was no secret among staff, though no one had spoken up officially until now. Interviews with employees revealed a pattern of frustration and low morale caused by Mark's controlling style. Many staff members quietly admitted that they had lost faith in his leadership long ago. The suspense grew as the investigation unfolded. Would the company back Mark, or would his own rules be his undoing? Rumors circulated that senior management was deeply concerned about the risks his policies posed. The entire office waited anxiously. The results of the investigation would determine Mark's fate and potentially change the way the company operated going forward. In the end, Mark's downfall was tied directly to the very rules he imposed, a lesson in how excessive control can backfire when taken too far. After the investigation wrapped up, the company made its decision. Mark was officially terminated. The board cited his poor leadership, the harmful micromanagement policies, and his unreliability as the main reasons. It was clear that his rules had not only hurt productivity, but also damaged client trust. The day Mark was escorted out was surreal. He was shocked, denying responsibility and blaming everyone but himself. His usual confidence was gone, replaced by confusion and anger. As security led him out, he shouted accusations, but no one was listening. Watching him leave, I felt a strange mix of relief and vindication. It wasn't about revenge, it was about justice and the right outcome. The company needed fresh leadership to rebuild trust and improve how things worked. After Mark's exit, the company swiftly revised its policies. The new rules encouraged more autonomy and trusted employees to manage their tasks responsibly. Approval processes were streamlined to avoid bottlenecks, and managers were reminded to be accessible and accountable. It was clear that Mark's downfall was a direct result of the very control he tried to wield. His story became a cautionary tale within the office, proof that sometimes the rules you create can be your own undoing. Following the whole ordeal, I was promoted to a team lead position. It felt like a reward for standing firm and doing the right thing, even when it wasn't easy. My colleagues respected the way I handled the situation by following the rules instead of breaking them. Looking back, I learned that sometimes the best way to handle unfair or ridiculous rules is to comply with them exactly. It forces everyone to see the consequences of those rules and often sparks change. Malicious compliance isn't about being a troublemaker. It's about using rules as a mirror to reveal problems. It can bring justice and fairness when leadership loses sight of what really matters. In the end, this experience taught me that standing your ground with integrity can make a difference. And sometimes, the quiet resistance of following the letter of the law can be louder than any rebellion. So, if you ever find yourself stuck under bad rules, remember, sometimes the best weapon is just playing by the book. Thanks so much for listening to this story from r/MaliciousCompliance. If you've ever dealt with a boss or situation where following the rules exactly caused some unexpected consequences, I'd love to hear your story too. Share your experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe or follow for more true tales of how people have turned rules against those who made them. We've got plenty more stories where bosses get their comeuppance and employees show just how powerful malicious compliance can be. Next time, we'll dive into a story where a simple email chain brings down a whole department. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Until then, stay smart, stay sly, and keep those rules in mind. You never know when they might just save the day. That wraps up today's episode of r/Payback. If you enjoyed the ride, don't forget to subscribe for more epic stories.